From the School of Journalism and Strategic Media, here's Blue Raider Extra Point.
Hello everyone and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. Here alongside me is Chase Owens and our special guest Fausto Lopez from the MTSU baseball team. Fausto, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, guys. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we want to start things off with having a special guest. We want to ask you a little bit about the season, and I want to start off with, going through this COVID year. You guys had your season cut short last year, and now you're seeing even 4-game series over the weekend just to be able to get games in. Is that a little bit, is it breaking the traditional ways of baseball to play that many games in a weekend and even doubleheaders going back to back to back?
Yeah, we kind of taking it back to the travel ball days when we were little, playing 6 games a weekend and all that stuff. But, it's really fun, especially compared to what we were doing around this time last year, which was sitting at home waiting to figure out what we were going to do. So I'm pretty sure we're just grateful to get out there on the field and get back to work with the rest of our teammates, honestly.
So Fausto, it's not undocumented. The team is probably not at the level that you want it to be at, but you yourself have had a great individual season. You lead the team in 4 major categories: stolen bases, hits, RBIs, and assists. Can you speak on the work that you put in and how do you feel, accomplishing some of those goals?
Yeah, that comes from really our coaches laying down the line, at the top, and our teammates doing a great job of following suit behind them. The guys around me push me every single day, so honestly, none of that would be good even without them. We got a really hard-working locker room. You look to the left, someone's working hard. You look to the right, someone's working hard, and you don't want to be left behind. So they kind of push us. We push each other every single day.
So one I actually do want to hit on is the stolen bases. You're tied for 6th in the nation in stolen bases. You're tied for 1st in the conference. You lead the team. What goes through your mind when you're doing that? What is it about stealing some bases that kind of works for you?
It's kind of a next base mentality that we kind of have. We just try to get to the next base and get in scoring position as much as possible. So as a team, we're always just looking for a way to advance. We're kind of just hungry and trying to pick the best time, best spot, and everything.
Heck yeah.
So now I want to go ahead and let's get things rolling here with Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's kick it off with our first segment. Nathan Vaughn brings you our Big Blue Review.
The Big Blue Review.
MTSU women's basketball received a dream matchup in the first round of the NCAA tournament with a date against in-state rival Tennessee. Lady Raider leading scorer Anastasia Hayes faced her former team, where as a freshman, Hayes won SEC 6th Woman of the Year honors and led all scorers in this contest with 26 points. However, despite being tied at halftime, the Lady Vols' advantage on the glass proved to be too much for the Lady Raiders to overcome in the second half, as 3rd-seeded Tennessee topped the 14th-seed MTSU by a score of 87-62. Tennessee out-rebounded MT 56-21 and shot over 50% from the field as MT struggled to find a run in the second half. The Lady Raiders will still return to Murfreesboro as Conference USA champions in both the regular season's Eastern Division and CUSA tournament, with a strong base to build on for another possible run at the tourney in the 2021-22 season. The MT softball team held its first true homestand of the season, facing Western Illinois and Mercer in doubleheaders over the weekend. Saturday started with a bang as MTSU walked off in its first game against Western Illinois as Kaylee Ricchetto hit a single to score Summer Burgess in the bottom of the 7th. The nightcap against Mercer, however, did not go as well for the Lady Raiders, as Mercer would top MT in 6 innings by a score of 10-2. Sunday's series of matches would become pitching duels as a combined 2 runs were scored over 2 games. Luckily for MTSU, both games went their way, picking up wins over Mercer and Western Illinois again to end the weekend with 3 wins out of 4 games. The wins put MTSU at a winning record on the year at 12-11 with a midweek matchup versus Jacksonville State on the horizon.
A clear, successful weekend for all of MT Sports, it seemed like. The ladies team not really getting the win that we thought they would get, but that's a tough Lady Volunteers team that they ran into.
Yeah, I thought, congrats to them on the year that they've had. It's been truly awesome to watch and everything and to root, even at times we were from home, but it was awesome watching and cheering them on all year.
It was great as a student to be able to see a team get into that late of a run and especially make it to the NCAA basketball tournament. It's just, you know, it feels good as a student to be able to see stuff like that. And, you know, we see that run with tennis, and we see that run with, you know, we saw it a few years ago with the men's basketball team making it to the tournament. And what's our chances of maybe seeing a run like that for the baseball team?
Well, I mean, we're working hard, and we're working really hard to make that, you know, that is a top priority this year. I mean, in the clubhouse, we're excited about who we got and what we got going on. A lot of confidence and a lot of fun in there. We're ready to start this conference, man.
And, you know, not to be outdone, that our softball team also put in a lot of work this week, going 3 of 4 out of the 4 games they played. Got a sacrifice bunt, and it's not really a sacrifice because she actually got on base, but a bunt to walk off with that. And then Summer Burgess hits the all-time program career hit record with 244. I mean, what a huge weekend for them it was. Shout
out Summer, man. She's a dog. She's a dog for that. She's awesome. Gretchen also pitched really good this weekend, too. And I mean, that's also another thing that's inspiring to watch. When the girls come out playing good, it just makes you want to play good too, you know what I mean? Make it a school-wide thing, so.
Well, it wasn't just MTSU in action this weekend, as we're going to go to Dylan Taylor with Around the CUSA.
This week, let's start with a look at how North Texas fared in the NCAA tournament as the lone representative for the CUSA. In the first round, the Mean Green arrived at the big dance with something to prove against Purdue and truly embraced the anything-can-happen spirit of March Madness. A strong start propelled them to an 8-point lead going into the half, and it looked as though they may run away with it. The number 4 seed Boilermakers did make a strong game-tying run in the second half and eventually send this game to overtime. Senior guard Javion Hamlet once again stepped up and powered North Texas to a 9-point victory and one of the better upset performances of the tournament so far. This win gave North Texas their first ever NCAA tournament victory in the school's history, and Hamlet went on to finish with a ridiculous stat line of 24 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists, and set up a round of 32 matchup with number 5 seed Villanova. Now we'll look at some updates on the 2 division leaders for the conference in baseball. Currently leading the Eastern Division, Old Dominion got off to a slow start against Richmond. However, the Monarchs came roaring back to secure their 13th win of the season behind a big home run and 10 strikeouts from the staff. In the West, Louisiana Tech also got off to their 13th win of the season with this weekend's series against Tulane. The third game provided plenty of fireworks offensively as the 2 teams combined for 14 runs and 19 hits. This win capped off a hard-fought sweep for the Bulldogs and earned them some national recognition as well. On Monday, they rose to number 21 in the perfect game college baseball rankings and have the look of a team ready to make some noise come time for conference play.
It's safe to say that MTSU doesn't look all that bad, losing to the eventual conference champion and even a tournament game winner in North Texas. On the other side of sports, in baseball, Old Dominion and La Tech seem like really tough opponents and had great weekends for themselves. Fausto, what are your thought processes about playing them in the future?
Oh yeah, I mean, we're excited. I think we're equipped. We're ready to go, and also we all got some friends over there too. So I guess we're all excited to just get out there and play with them and just compete. You know, we got enough firepower to compete with those guys, and it's going to be fun all around college baseball.
Well, we hope it ends in MTSU's favor at least.
Absolutely, and just to keep things rolling, we're going to go ahead and kick it over to our Blue Raider Spotlight of the Week. Dylan Taylor has that for us. Let's take it there now.
It's no secret that college can be a fun, while also stressful time for many. However, this past year, the term stressful probably wouldn't even be close enough to describe the COVID-19 pandemic that rocked much of the world as we know it. Virtual classes, diminished opportunities, and widespread fear for the future became the norm recently. Now, add in moving from Germany to the United States in the middle of all this, and you understand a little bit more of what MTSU freshman tennis player Lily Sophie Schmidt has had to go through.
Well, it's definitely different, especially I just watched movies and then they show me it's gonna be different. Right now it's more about going to class and going to practice and that's it. Like maybe a girls' night, movie night, that's it, but just with your roommates because otherwise it's too dangerous. So it's kind of weird.
Now Lily has had a bit of time to acclimate to her surroundings and get to know her teammates, classmates, and MTSU's campus as a whole. Before moving here, though, she had to make a life-changing decision about her future almost completely sight unseen.
I got a virtual tour, yeah. But it was definitely different. Like, I came here and everything was new. Like, I came to tennis courts and I feel like I've never been here actually. But it was pretty good because it was surprising and everything was new, so I kind of liked it, not to see it in some way, but I would love to see my teammates before, but...
Luckily, Lily had already had a little bit of a taste of living on her own before moving to America. She attended boarding school at the Hanover tennis base, which gave a small insight into moving into college dorms. But she says that didn't give her the full experience of what college in America would be like.
I would say definitely the freedom. I lived in a boarding school before, so it was definitely more strict. And here I have to organize my whole life on my own, like with classes, with practice and everything.
One thing that Lily's waiting on is what many around the country are waiting on even still today. The typical college experience that everyone dreams about their whole life has been put on hold in many aspects for around the past year. With so many businesses being closed or held to limited capacity, sports seasons canceled or put on hold for several months, and campus life non-existent at times, it's safe to say that it hasn't been the most exciting time to be living out what some would call the best or most fun years of your life. Many people, like Lily, are looking forward to the small things again, the events or experiences that before we definitely took for granted.
Definitely going out with the team for dinner. Because right now we're not allowed to eat here in a restaurant together as like a team. That's something that I really want to do, so yeah.
In Murfreesboro, I'm Dylan Taylor, MTN Sports.
That's 2 weeks that we've had an out-of-country kind of person featured on Blue Raider Spotlight, and I think that's really awesome. And I still have to make the comment that it's kind of hard to transition from a different country, from Germany to the United States, especially when the United States isn't what the United States typically is.
And she's such a nice person, too. We had her last season on Blue Raider Spotlight where she took on one of our own, Houston Chapman, trying to do some serves against him, and being able to interview her and see how adjusted she is coming to the U.S. It's just great to see how you're able to just, out of nowhere, change your entire life, coming to a completely different country just to play the sport that you love.
Mm-hmm. Well, now let's head over to Zachary Loan with this week's scouting report.
The Blue Raiders baseball team will travel to Birmingham this weekend with a showdown against the UAB Blazers. The Blue Raiders are great on the base pass this year, already piling up 45 steals. That is third in the entire country. They're led by Fausto Lopez, who has 10 stolen bases. That is tied for 6th in the country and tied for 1st in Conference USA. The Blazers are also great on the base pass, as they have already had 25 steals, which is tied for 20th in the country. They are led by Jess Davis, who is tied with Fausto Lopez for 1st in CUSA and 6th in the nation with 10 stolen bases. The Blue Raiders also have a top 20 pitching staff, as they have an ERA of 280, which is ranked 16th in the country and 1st in Conference USA. They are led by Zach Keenan, who is ranked 22nd in the country with a .38 ERA. UAB, on the other hand, is struggling to find solid pitching, as they have a 4.28 ERA as a team. MTSU also does a great job of not giving up free bases. The Blue Raiders are 2nd in the country in walks allowed per 9 innings with 2.11. They are again led by Zach Keenan, who has not given up a single walk in the 23 innings that he has pitched so far. The Blue Raiders make you earn your way to get on. The Blue Raiders have played a tough schedule up to this point, but they have shown the great talent on this roster, being 11-8 going to conference play. A team that doesn't give up free passes and can steal a base at a high rate is always dangerous. That is what the Blue Raiders baseball team does. Back to you.
Thanks, Zachary. And Fausto, we've got a lot of independent leaders on this baseball team this year, mentioning Zach Keenan being the leading pitcher for walks allowed. And then you've got Brown with 50 strikeouts on the year, yourself tied 6th with the NCAA for stolen bases. And even as a team, ranked 3rd overall with stolen bases. We really making some historic progress here for the baseball team. Tell us a little bit about, what those stats themselves would mean to you guys.
It means that the work we put in to get here, has worked. Even though, like you guys, how the video showed, we're 11-8, so it hasn't really 100% translated. But we know that it's leading somewhere special, just because we we're aggressive. We're an aggressive team. We like being the aggressor in the situation. So I feel like it's starting to show.
That's great. And whenever we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the MTSU baseball team and what they have coming up. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and we'll be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Time for more Blue Raider Extra Point.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. With me, I have Chase Owens and our special guest, Fausto Lopez from MTSU Baseball. And now that we're later on in the season, we're seeing a lot of sports finishing out their years, but something that is in its peak right now is MT Baseball. So I want to look at this weekend. You guys are going into UAB for a series. What are your thoughts going in and what you see in UAB?
Both teams knew that out of all the other teams in the conference, we'd play each other 8 times this year, 2 different series. So I feel like there's going to be, a little bit of chip on shoulder and I guess like emotion to these games. And, I'm sure they're ready to go and they've worked hard and we're ready to go too. So it's going to be awesome to be able to step on the field and compete.
So you have UAB this weekend, and I know, a former athlete, I understand the whole, you got this opponent, that's all you're concerned about. But you look at the schedule, you see who's upcoming, you see games that are kind of maybe closer to home, closer to your heart, something like that. You got Rice coming up in the following week. Kind of give us some, preconceived notions on Rice. How do you think that they're looking this year, and your overall thoughts on them?
Rice is always pretty well respected, anywhere when their name's brought up in college baseball. So I guess since we're trying to prove a point this year, that's one of the teams that you kind of circle and you look at and you say, if we want to prove something, we got to prove that we can play with these guys and compete with these guys. So once again, it's going to be awesome to step out there and just show all the hard work we've put in and, put something out there, put a show on out there.
I know we're running low on time, but I kind of got 2 quick questions for you. And the first one is, what's your record for stolen bases in a game and in a series?
Maybe in a game, maybe 3 or 4. In a series, I can't.
Couldn't even tell me.
Sure.
Okay, so are we gonna see you break that record in these next 2 weeks?
Let's see, man. Let's see. We sure might try. We're gonna go for it.
He had 2 in a tough series against Memphis in one game. That's right there. And you got a team to the power of Memphis. You got to be booking it.
Yep, that's for sure.
Check out Blue Raider Extra Point on Instagram and Twitter.
And that's all the time we have for today's show. Tune in every Wednesday at 6 p.m. to see more Blue Raider Extra Point.
And if you missed this episode or any of our past episodes, check us out on MiddleTennesseeNews.net. Thank you so much, and good night.